This I like to refer to as making it weird. Making it weird is another way of saying that you should do some things to defamiliarize your writing. Defamiliarize is just a fancy way of saying make it less familiar. So, when your writing feels a bit unfamiliar or strange to you, you increase the chances that you'll be able to pick up on and identify errors in the prose. There are a few different ways that you can go about making your writing weird to yourself. The most tried and true is time. In this wonderful book on writing, a memoir of the craft, Stephen King gives some advice to people who have written a novel. And he tells them, when you complete your first draft of a novel, put that draft in a desk drawer for 6 weeks and do not touch it until those 6 weeks have elapsed. After the 6 weeks, you can pull it out of that drawer and begin to edit and proofread. Now, the reason that he gives that advice is essentially that distance between you and the draft allows you to see it more objectively. And how he puts this in slightly more visceral terms is, it's always easier to kill someone else's darlings than it is to kill your own. Wise words, Stephen. One of the best things about using time to make your writing weird is that you're more likely to catch what you actually wrote instead of your mind filling in the blanks with what you think you wrote or what you meant to write. Any amount of time, even if all you can do is not look at your draft for 24 hours after you finish your content edits. Next way that you can make your writing weird is to do something that visually makes it look quite different than it did when you were drafting it. You can experiment with things like, first off, font size. Making the font larger can help you see more easily where punctuation falls, can also help you see typos where similar letters might have been sort of swapped, things like that. In addition to size, you can play with the color of the font, highlighting the font, but I think the typeface itself is a really good option for making it weird. So as I scroll between these options, you might see that some of them make it easier for you to catch little details in how the words are written. But even more so than catching punctuation and what you can literally see is just the sense that it gives you. For example, when I'm proofreading, I sometimes put my work into Comic Sans, frankly, because it looks silly. And putting my work into a silly font gives me that needed distance from it to almost make it feel like someone else had to have written this because I would never write in Comic Sans. So it might not be Comic Sans for you, but try finding a font that's still legible visibly, but just a bit strange, and that will help you read it as if someone else wrote it. You can also do a version of this if you use text-to-speech technology by changing, for example, the speed at which the narrator is reading.
Appear here. These would be compelling arguments supported with strong academic references.
Usually for proofreading, slower might be better.
The markers would gasp in awe.
And you can also change the voice that is dictating. Our next way to make it weird is quite old school, which is that you can actually simply print off your writing. If that's going to be easier on your eyes and if that's going to be easier for you to focus. Sometimes it is nice to work with that physical copy. If looking at an entire page, and especially many, many pages of printed text or of text on a screen feels overwhelming to you, if it almost starts to feel like just a swimming sea of text, we'll use another old school and very simple method. All you need is a pair of scissors and a piece of paper. All we're going to do is fold this in half long ways, and then in the sheet of paper, cut out a window. But once you've done that, it should be a window just like this, see? Okay, and what that will actually allow you to do when you're proofreading is focus on a smaller portion of the text at one time. So you can cut this window so that you can see, maybe up to 5 lines of text. You can also keep it quite small and just do 2 lines of text at a time. So for that very minute kind of proofreading, this can be a good strategy to use. And you just slide that up and down your paper. You can also take this piece of paper and actually just tape it onto your laptop screen or your external monitor, and then scroll in Word to see your typed text going up and through that, but with a limited view. So make it a bit weird for yourself by zooming in to an unusual degree to catch that detail that you need to see.